G'day, welcome to Nevadia. Hi everyone, I have something so exciting to show you. Everyone, say hello to my new scale baby. Isn't she gorgeous? I haven't quite figured out what their name or their sex is, so I'm open to hearing any name suggestions from you. Right now I'm just calling them they. I've already had one name suggestion from Notjar Witness, and he has tortured me into telling everyone that he's suggested one. He can tell you what it is in the comments. I just wanted to name them something like Orange or Snake in the language of the Bundjalung people, who are the indigenous mob from the area that I grew up in. But that is easier said than done. After talking to quite a few people, it actually might end up being inadvertently disrespectful, so I decided not to do so. This little one is a Stimpson's python from the genus Antaresia. I actually not sure if I pronounced that properly because I did a 30-second Google search and seriously that did not help me at all. If you don't know what a genus is, it is the classification step up from species. If you want to make an analogy, your first name describes you, which is kind of like the species, while your last name, which kind of includes all of your immediate family members, describes your genus. To be fair, the analogy breaks down from there. A famous example of a species is Canis lupus familiaris and Canis lupus, which is dog and wolf respectively. Wolves and dogs aren't the same species, but they are of the same genus. By the way, the domesticated dog is a subspecies of wolves, hence Canis lupus familiaris, rather than just plain Canis familiaris. With the common name, it is often written or said as Stimpson's python, but actually that's not correct. It's actually Stimson's python. There's no P in the name. This species is named after the British herpetologist Andrew Stimpson. Stimpson's pythons are a part of the same genus as children's pythons, which is what a Lucius is, but they are different species. To be honest, I couldn't find a lot of information on how they differ, and if you look at them, there's actually not a lot of difference. They do grow to a similar length. Children's grows to 1 to 1.5 meters, and a Stimpson grows to just a bit over a metre long. You imperial measurement people are going to have to figure out what that means because I'm petty when it comes to this. Revenge! Both species of python have the beautiful rainbow sheen, but you can't really see it on this one quite yet. Stimmies are found pretty much all over Australia, but mainly on the west coast and central Australia. They're considered to be a species of least concern when it comes to their conservation status, and since they are a part of the pet trade, that status won't change anytime soon. Stimpson's pythons tend to have a larger range of colours than children's pythons, which tend to be olive to brown with darker spots, while the stimmies can be a range of oranges, such as this gorgeous one, and slightly larger spots than that of a children's python. As you can see, this little one's spots are of a similar size to Lucius's, so I don't think going by their spots is 100% accurate for identification. But check it out, they have a little heart! Yeah, I love you too. So according to the people who sold this one to me, stimmies tend to not be as aggressive as children's pythons and much more gentle with their feeding response. To be honest, I think they accidentally sold me another children's python because this one has tried to eat me twice, and as of filming, I've only had it for a whole week. Although I will hand them this, they do release my hand a lot quicker than Lucius does, so that might be an example of their more placid nature. This one's personality, if you haven't figured out, is absolutely already chock-a-block. They are really friendly. I have them sitting next to me on my laptop, and while I'm working on it, they're constantly crawling around in their tank when they should in fact be asleep. Apparently they hung around at the front of the tank at the store the whole day, so they're actually probably a bit of an attention whore. They are also very curious, which is shown perfectly in this photo here. I'm currently quarantining them in a tank well away from Lucius, and it is 30 centimeters long, and I have a 5-watt heat mat as their heat source. People might think it's a bit rough keeping a snake in such a small tank. However, if they're kept at a larger size, they can actually get lost in that tank and die from dehydration or hypothermia. Once this little one gets to about 45 centimeters, I'll put them in their forever home, which will be the same as Lucius's 90 centimeter tank. Currently, they are 26 centimeters, so they have a few months of growing worth to go. They don't have a UV source quite yet, so I do need to sunbathe them once a week. Having a constant UV source isn't necessary because these are a nocturnal species. However, once I bought Lucius, his UV lamp, his personality really perked up, so I will definitely get them one when they upgrade. I feed this little one on Pinkies once a week on a Monday. Pinkies are mice that are less than 5 days old before they were euthanized and frozen. I will say I respect the fact that I am feeding an animal to another animal, and I just wanted to address that. The reason why I feed frozen thawed animals and not live animals to my snakes is manifold. First of all, it is just plain cruel. What would you prefer? Falling asleep and never waking up, or being crushed to death? Especially when you're put into a situation where you can't escape from your predator. Yeah, I wouldn't wish that death on anyone. Second, it's actually dangerous to the snake. Mice are known to kill or seriously injure snakes when left in the enclosure unattended. In the wild, a missed strike will allow the mouse to run away, but it can't do that in captivity, so it ends up attacking the snake. Even if the snake is able to strike and wrap the mouse, it will still try to defend itself and can still injure the snake. Third, a frozen thawed food source is less likely to harbour parasites. The freezing process is known to kill the more complicated parasites and some microbes that could get your snake sick. This isn't 100% guaranteed, but it is less likely to cause issues. Fourthly, it is a lot more convenient. If I choose to feed my snake live, I have to go to the pet store weekly. Feeding frozen thawed food means I could go once every month or so because I can buy in bulk. If I feed live and my snake refuses to eat, which can happen, I have a mouse that I need to look after for another week. I live in a small apartment and I have nowhere to keep them. Even though I'm not a fan of wasting lives, I can dispose of the mouse in the garbage. Again, I am not a fan of that, but to me, it is much better for the mouse and me if that happens. Fifth, it is cheaper. A live mouse is approximately $5 each from Gumtree, which is a website similar to Craigslist. However, frozen mice from my local supplier are 5 grown mice for $18. It might be different if I wanted to breed my own snakes and I had the time to breed snakes as well, but to be honest, not many people have that time to look after mice. Also, the housing, feeding and caring for the animals is another added expense onto that, which adds on to the convenience part I talked about earlier. Sixth, it's more sanitary. From purchase to feeding, the mouse could defecate or urinate. This isn't a problem for frozen thawed mice. Seventh, there is actually a chance that the mouse will escape, and I don't want that. Eighth, if your snake needs to take dietary supplements, which can happen for certain species of snakes, you can add them to the thawed mouse, but not the live one. Hello. One of the biggest arguments I've heard against feeding frozen thawed mice is that it is not natural and they don't get to hone their hunting skills. But here is my argument. Neither is giving your dog canned dog food. Just in case you're wondering, don't worry, Lucius still gets lots of love and attention. I make sure I handle them both equally. Lucius is definitely my snake, and to be honest with you, Notcha may have adopted this one. I mean, they're still both mine, but Notcha kind of claims this one for himself. One day I hope to show you both snakes side by side, but right now you're just going to have to make do with this video. In 6 months' time, I'm going to be taking them to the vet to get them sexed. In the meantime, we're probably just going to have to guesstimate. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to my newbie and scandium, iodine, nitrogen and cerium. I also want to say a big thank you to my wonderful patrons, especially my $10 redback patrons, to which I owe a massive apology to because I forgot to thank you last week. I am so sorry. So a very big thanks to Aided Fairball, Lauren Hart, Mary Civitano, Amanda Vogue, Ross Devereux and Atheist Pastor. And an extra special thank you to my $35 Irukandji patron, Osman Kummer. Please take care of yourself and have a lovely day. All over Australia, but the freezing process is known to kill the more One of the biggest arguments people have against feeding frozen thawed mice is that in 6 months' time you're gonna. Do you know what?